The crew was tense, their unease palpable in the cramped confines of our ship. I could feel their eyes on me, their silent accusations hanging heavy in the air. They weren't happy with this mission, and I couldn't blame them. Humanity's introduction to the galactic stage had been unsettling, to say the least. No grand battles, no catastrophic losses, just a collective, horrified gasp from the entire galaxy as they realized what humans were capable of. Since then, everyone had been avoiding them like the blue plague. But not me. I smelled opportunity. 2 years of the galaxy tiptoeing around these so-called sleeping giants had left the market wide open. And I, Tharann Torr of Clan Kuno-Tarr, was about to make us all stinking rich. "Are we close?" I asked, leaning back in my chair, trying to project an air of calm I didn't feel. "Yes, sir," Ensign Wartak replied, his voice tight. "We'll be out of slip in a minute. But, sir, the sensors are going crazy. There's something massive out there." "I know," I said, forcing a grin. "The system we're aiming for is owned by a private entity, not some massive fleet. It should be easy to establish contact." "Are you sure about this, sir?" Aluka, my gunnery sergeant, asked, her voice laced with doubt. "Humans aren't exactly known for their hospitality." "No," I admitted, my grin faltering. "But it's better than debt slavery or the gallows, isn't it?" The crew fell silent at that. They didn't need reminding of the stakes. We were out of options, and this was our last chance. My merchant's bones were tingling, and after 200 years in this business, I'd learned to trust that feeling. This was going to be worth it. Slip into one. The ship shuddered as we dropped out of slip space, and for a moment, everything was still. Then the sensors screamed, and the viewport filled with the sight of something. My heart stopped. The crew collectively gasped, and I'm pretty sure at least one of us soiled themselves. It was an attack moon. One of the humans' infamous war machines. A mid-sized moon, its surface bristling with cannons, armor plating, and industrial complexes. A massive rocket engine glowed ominously at its rear. A stark reminder that this wasn't just a moon. It was a weapon, and it had noticed us. "That is an independent," Wartak shouted, his voice cracking. "What the hell, sir? You can't possibly tell me that thing isn't part of a national fleet." Before I could respond, Olivar, my comms officer, yelled, "We have a hail, sir. They've noticed us." "Of course they've noticed us," I snapped, my voice rising an octave. "They can probably smell the fear radiating off us. Put it through." The comms crackled to life, and a distorted but distinctly feminine voice filled the bridge. "Attention, unregistered craft. Identify yourselves immediately." I clutched my chest, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. "Hold on a second." I think my heart stopped. Wait, there it is. Okay, it didn't stop. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "My name is Tharann Torr of Clan Kuno-Tarr. I'm a registered merchant of the HFY Imperium. I'm here to look for a market or somewhere I can do business. Can you direct us to a trade network?" There was a pause, and then the voice replied, "Oh, yeah, sure. There's no trade network or market, but I do have stuff to trade and sell. Anywhere you can land." "Yes, we breathe oxygen," I said quickly. "Coming in for landing." "Thank you." I nodded to Wartak, who hesitated for a moment before guiding the ship toward one of the landing platforms. The closer we got, the more terrifying the scale of the place became. Towering skyscrapers, massive industrial complexes, and battleship-sized turrets loomed over us. It was like landing on a manufacturing world that had been turned into a fortress. As we approached the landing platform, something caught my eye. A massive dome, its surface covered in heavy transparent glass, housing what appeared to be a field of green grass. And in the center of that field, something moved. My blood ran cold. Is that a Bakandi Deathworm?" I yelled, pointing at the dome. The crew froze, staring in horror at the creature inside. It was massive, its jaws splaying open like a carnivorous flower as it absorbed the light from the local star. The worm was carving tunnels through the planet's crust, its movements causing the ground to tremble even through the thick glass. Human! Human! Are you there? I shouted into the comms. My voice panicked. Yeah, I'm here, the voice replied, sounding almost amused. Something go wrong? Don't worry about the turrets. Do you know you have a worm infestation on your planet? Or ship? Or whatever this is. We just saw a Bacandi Deathworm inside one of those domes. You need to defend yourself. Bacandi Deathworm? Oh, so you did see Jeff. He's adorable, isn't it? It's fine. He's just saying hello. That's not a Bacardi. Whatever. Deathworm. That's Jeff. Are you coming in for a landing or what? I'm waiting. I slumped in my seat, clutching my chest. Don't. I give up. Just land us, please. I just can't. The ship touched down with a thud, and I forced myself to stand, my legs trembling. Why did I do this? Oh right, money. The cargo bay doors opened, and we were greeted by a sight that made my soul want to leave my body. A tram rolled into view, its doors opening to reveal a human female. She had long, void-black hair, brown eyes, and a cybernetic left arm. A strange pink headset with pointy ear accessories sat atop her head. Behind her stood a war robot, twice her size, with bladed arms and a monowheel for mobility. It stared at us menacingly. Well, howdy, she said with a sweet, melodic voice. Welcome to my humble abode. My name is Lorelei. What can I do you for? I tried to smile, but it came out as more of a grimace. Hello. I'm afraid I don't have much to trade, but I hope we can do business. She looked us over, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Nice. A pink space vampire elf, 2 purple goblins, and a space jellyfish. Cool. Never seen aliens before. Nice to meet y'all. Pleasure to meet you, I said, still clutching my chest. Please excuse me. My heart is attempting to escape at the moment. Too old for this. She laughed, a sound that was both beautiful and terrifying. Do I need to take you to medbay? No, it's fine. I just need to calm down. This place is insane. You are insane. The Deathworm named Jeff is insane. Everything is insane. If I wasn't having heart palpitations, I would assume I were dreaming. She laughed again, clearly enjoying our discomfort. Ain't he just the cutest? Anyway, let's get down to business. What did you guys bring? I handed her a data pad with our cargo manifest. Musical instruments, reproductions of cultural artifacts, some tourist souvenirs, and a full archived library of our culture. I had no idea what else to bring, and frankly, I could afford nothing else. She scanned the manifest, her eyes lighting up. Oh, cool. That's super useful. Here, take a look at my cargo manifest. You can see what you like, and we'll make a deal. As she loaded our crates onto the tram, I couldn't help but notice the sheer scale of the operation. Massive domes, tunnels leading deep into the planet's crust, and machinery that defied comprehension. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. We boarded the tram, and Lorelei took us to the main cargo hub. The place was a marvel of engineering, with cargo trains, conveyor belts, and machines working in perfect harmony. In the center of it all was a massive spheroid structure, its surface covered in displays showing the sum total of the cargo in the facility. Lorelei unloaded our cargo and sent it to her vault, then directed us to a console. Go ahead and take a look. I've already done all the hard work. You can just grab and go. I approached the console, my eyes widening as I saw the numbers. 6 million? 6 million? This can't be correct. You can't possibly be offering me that much for some cheap souvenirs and a historical archive. She shrugged, her smile never wavering. Well, yeah, that archive is worth its weight in gold to the feds. They always want to learn stuff. It's not like I can't afford it. Before I could respond, a low rumble shook the ground. I turned, and my soul nearly left my body. There, in the tunnel we'd come from, was Jeff, the Bacandi Deathworm. It was staring at us, its massive jaws closed, its beady eyes fixed on our group. Jeffy Pooh! Lorelei exclaimed, rushing over to the creature. "How's my big wormy boy today? Huh? You been good?" The worm let out a low purr, nuzzling against her like a giant, terrifying pet. She cooed at it, rubbing its metal-tough skin. "Good boy. What you here for? Huh? Wanna say hello? Go on, say hi, Jeffy." The worm turned its gaze to us, its lips curling into what could only be described as a smile. It was the most horrifying thing I'd ever seen. I raised a trembling hand and waved, my entire existence consumed by fear. Lorelei laughed, clearly enjoying our terror. "Ain't he just the cutest? Anyway, let's get you guys situated. I'll load up your ship with some gold, silver, platinum, and other goodies. Then we can head back to Tharann space and set up a proper trade network." As she spoke, Jeff let out a terrifying roar and charged down one of the tunnels, disappearing into the depths of the planet ship. I stared after it, my mind struggling to process what I just witnessed. "Good boy, Jeffy," Lorelei called after it. Then she turned to us, her smile as sweet as ever. "All right, let's get you guys back to your ship. You've got a lot of work to do." We returned to our ship, our cargo hold now filled with enough wealth to pay off all our debts and then some. But as we prepared to leave, I couldn't shake the feeling that we just stepped into something far bigger and far more dangerous than we'd ever imagined. And through it all, there was Jeff, always watching, always smiling. The journey back to Tharann space was unnerving, to say the least. Our ship, now laden with enough precious metals to make us the wealthiest merchants in the HFY Imperium, felt like a fragile bubble floating through a sea of nightmares. And at the center of those nightmares was Jeff, the Bakandi Deathworm. The creature that had haunted the galaxy for millennia as a symbol of death and destruction was now our constant companion, poking its massive head out of tunnels and vents, always watching, always smiling that horrifying smile. "Sir, I don't think I can take much more of this," Olivar whispered, his voice trembling as he stared at the view screen. Jeff's massive form was visible through the glass, his beady eyes fixed on our ship as we traveled through the labyrinthine tunnels of Lorelei's planet ship. "None of us can," I replied, clutching the armrests of my chair. "But we don't have a choice. We're in too deep now. Just keep your eyes forward and try not to think about it." Easier said than done. Every time we thought we'd escape Jeff's gaze, he'd reappear, his massive body slithering through the tunnels with terrifying speed. Lorelei, on the other hand, seemed completely unfazed. She treated Jeff like a beloved pet, cooing at him and feeding him strange, clucking creatures she called chickies. The sight of Jeff devouring those creatures in a single bone-crunching bite was enough to make even the bravest among us want to curl up and cry. After what felt like an eternity, we finally reached the edge of Tharann space. The planet ship emerged from slip space, and the viewport filled with the sight of a massive human fleet. Warships the size of small moons, bristling with weapons and glowing with energy, surrounded a central station that looked like a city floating in the void. It was awe-inspiring and terrifying in equal measure. "Welcome to Tharann space," Lorelei said, her voice filled with pride. "Home sweet home." "It's impressive," I managed to say, though my voice was barely above a whisper. "But where do we go from here?" "First, we'll get you set up with a merchant's license," Lorelei replied, her tone businesslike. "Then we'll establish a trade route between your people and the Federation. Don't worry, I'll handle everything. You just sit back and enjoy the ride." The thought of enjoying the ride was laughable, but I nodded anyway. We didn't have much of a choice. Lorelei guided our ship to the central station, and we docked in a massive hangar filled with ships of all shapes and sizes. Humans and robots moved about, their efficiency almost mechanical in its precision. As we disembarked, a group of humans approached us. They were dressed in sleek, black uniforms adorned with the insignia of the Tharann Federation. At their head was a tall, imposing man with sharp features and piercing blue eyes. "Lorelei," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "I see you've brought guests." "Yep," Lorelei replied, her cheerful demeanor a stark contrast to the man's seriousness. "This is Tharann Torr and his crew. They're here to establish a trade network with the Federation." The man's eyes flicked to me, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. "Tharann Torr," he said, his tone measured. "I am Admiral Kane, commander of the Tharann Federation's 7th Fleet. Lorelei has informed us of your unique situation. We'll need to discuss the terms of your trade agreement." "Of course," I said, trying to sound confident. "I'm eager to begin negotiations." Admiral Kane nodded, then turned to Lorelei. "And Jeff?" "Oh, he's fine," Lorelei said with a wave of her hand. "Just hanging out in the tunnels. You know how he gets." Admiral Kane's expression didn't change, but I thought I saw a flicker of amusement in his eyes. "Very well. Follow me." We were led through the station, our surroundings a blur of gleaming metal and bustling activity. The humans moved with purpose, their every action calculated and efficient. It was clear that this was a society built on order and discipline, a stark contrast to the chaotic, almost whimsical nature of Lorelei's planet ship. Finally, we reached a conference room, its walls lined with screens displaying data and maps of the galaxy. Admiral Kane gestured for us to sit, and we did so, our nerves on edge. "Let's get down to business," Admiral Kane said, his tone all business. "The Tharann Federation is interested in establishing trade relations with the HFY Imperium. However, there are certain conditions that must be met." "Conditions?" I asked, my heart sinking. "Yes," Admiral Kane replied. "First, all trade must be conducted through designated channels. Second, any technology exchanged must be approved by the Federation. And third," he paused, his gaze locking onto mine, "you will provide us with detailed information on the Bacandi Deathworms." I blinked, caught off guard. "The Deathworms? Why?" Admiral Kane leaned forward, his expression serious. "The Bacandi Deathworms are one of the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. Yet Lorelei has managed to tame one. If we can replicate her methods, we could turn them into a powerful asset." I glanced at Lorelei, who was grinning like a child who'd just been given a new toy. "It's not that hard," she said with a shrug. "You just have to treat them with love and respect. Jeff's a big softy once you get to know him." I couldn't help but shudder at the thought. Jeff, a big softy? The creature that had haunted my nightmares for the past few days? It was almost too much to comprehend. "We'll provide whatever information we can," I said, though the words felt heavy on my tongue. "But I must warn you, the Deathworms are not to be taken lightly." "Understood," Admiral Kane said, his tone final. "Now, let's discuss the details of our trade agreement." The negotiations lasted for hours, but in the end, we reached an agreement. The Tharann Federation would provide us with advanced technology and resources, and in return, we would share our knowledge of the Deathworms and establish a trade network between our peoples. It was a deal that would make us rich beyond our wildest dreams, but it came with a price. We were now tied to the humans, and there was no going back. As we left the conference room, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The humans were powerful, yes, but they were also unpredictable. And then there was Jeff. The thought of the Deathworm being used as a weapon was terrifying, but there was nothing I could do to stop it. "Well, that went well," Lorelei said, her cheerful voice breaking me out of my thoughts. "You guys are going to be rolling in credits in no time." "Yes," I said, forcing a smile. "Thank you for your help." "No problem," Lorelei replied. "Oh, and don't worry about Jeff. He'll be fine. He's a good boy." I nodded, though the words did little to ease my fears. As we boarded our ship and prepared to leave, I couldn't shake the feeling that we just made a deal with forces far beyond our understanding. And as we flew away from Tharann space, I couldn't help but glance back at the planet ship, its massive form looming in the distance. Somewhere in those tunnels, Jeff was waiting, his beady eyes watching, his terrifying smile etched into my memory. We had survived our encounter with the humans, but at what cost? Only time would tell.